That is beautiful, in my view. We've got a bit of an issue with our culvert here that we've got some plans about, because we don't want that still water sitting there in the summer, but that's a project that we've got in mind, and we've got a bit of an idea how we're going to remedy that. It's quite a common thing that you will see in country areas. Sometimes the infrastructure for water runoff isn't what it perhaps could be, but as long as you're aware of it and you've got some sort of strategy to address it, and we've got some plans for that I think are going to be kind of interesting, and it's something that people have to deal with quite a bit, so we're going to put some thought into how we're going to sort that one out, and all will be well. But they're all things that we took into account when we considered the place, and nowhere's perfect. But as I've said in many other videos, at least you're aware of these things, and at least something like that is in a situation where you can do something about it, as opposed to if it's on a neighbouring property, well, sometimes you're stuck with it. So it's just good to know where bodies of water are, because they're breeding grounds sometimes for mosquitoes and that sort of thing. But it is what it is. And there's very few areas that you will find in the country areas that may not have some sort of situation related to that. Not always, but it's not uncommon. It's just something you got to keep in mind. But we're really delighted at the way it's all sort of going on. Here's our driveway that's in a bit of need of some love. It wasn't built for heavy vehicles, that's for sure. So we're going to have that sorted out. Not a massive, it's just a bit of an upgrade that the old bridge needs, and we need to sort out the water flow underneath that culvert and get it engineered a bit more professionally. But we have a plan, and just coming in, our beautiful fence is up. The guys got that up really promptly, and it's beautifully done. Nice and straight, and just really beautiful work in my view. You look at something like that and you just think, well, man, there's a lot of labour, love and effort gone into that, and we're absolutely wrapped with it. Those posts are all filled with cement, and we'll put some sort of cap on the top because they're opened at the moment, so close those off, and as long as we keep up the rust treatment and maintain them, they should last longer than me. So it's going brilliantly. I'll just show you inside the progress so far. Only in a couple of days. The guys have been grafting away, and now internal walls are starting to go up, or virtually are up. Just got to go up to the very top. And the walls actually have had reinforcement welded across, so that there's a number of reinforcing metal layers through that brickwork, so it's not going anywhere. You wouldn't want to just do something like that as a free floating brick wall without any support. That wouldn't be a good idea. But that's all firmly in place. It's not going anywhere. So we're really happy with that progress. And we've had a lot of great comments and ideas and thoughts about this project. Some people have said, oh, look, that's very much like a caravan type situation. It's going to get very hot in there. Well, it's not, because it's not in any way exposed to the direct sun. So actually today, it's turned out to be quite warm and the sun's really coming down. In there, it's beautiful and cool. So with the addition of underground venting, which we're going to put that venting somehow into this structure, we're going to sort some floor level venting and then have the ability to vent out the top of the container. You'll have that fresh airflow coming up, through and up, and I have no doubt that it's going to be really nice in there. Nice, dry and properly ventilated. So that, with the addition of the fact that it won't have any direct sun anywhere on that metal surface, it's really acting as an insulator, if nothing else. And I think that it's going to be really pleasant in there. But as I said in the previous video, we're also looking to make this area bigger. We're taking out this section of the wall, so this living area will be open anyway, and there'll be windows here that can be open, so there'll be heaps of fresh air, and we'll have some fans and things. So my hope is that we get to the point where we don't need air conditioning at all. That's my hope. But when it gets really blistering hot here in Paraguay, well, who knows, we might have to fire up the aircon, and we do have it there if we need it, but I really do hope that we don't need it, because I don't like air conditioning, and if we can ideally design homes that don't need it, well, we're all that much further ahead. But there's also the potential on top of the container, because it's not getting any water onto it, we could potentially insulate the roof component there. This roof here will be a modern type of material that we're using. So potentially we could make it fairly secure and contained, so that if it does get really hot at the hottest parts of the year, I guess we could contain it and fully air condition it. And I don't want to do that if we can avoid it. And another thing that some people have sort of pointed out is, well, it's quite a compact space. There's 4 of us, and we're simple people, so we don't particularly care all that much about having a big mansion of a place. We're a close family in every way, so we aren't so freaked out at the fact that we'll have 1 bedroom each and a living area. But what people need to keep in mind is that this outside part is really part of our dwelling. This is where we'll spend most of our time, and that is the way in Paraguay, particularly in a pleasant space like this. It's nicely shaded, a lot of greenery around here, and it's going to be a really nice, comfortable space. This is where we'll spend a lot of our time anyway. So when you take into account the entire footprint, it's the size of a modest but reasonable house. I'll measure out the exact size of it and report back to you in a future video, but we're happy enough with the space. And then what we've decided to do in addition to that is this roof line here. We're just going to extend it by, I think we said 7 meters. 7 meters out. So that roof line is just going to continue out here. And the rationale for that is that in this space here, we are thinking about building some sort of storage facility, some sort of, they call it deposito here, maybe a workshop. But now that we've got the opportunity and we've got the resources here on site to do it, we thought now's as good a time as any to do that. And then that gives us an entirely new space to play with. And there's all sorts of potential things that we can do with it. But my preference is, rather than just doing everything, just do what we have to do to be comfortable and then get here. And then I think the rest sort of comes to you. That's sort of the way we roll. And that's one of the nice things when you're living in a place that doesn't have all of the pressures of Mr. Plod with his clipboard, is you can do things incrementally and not be under the pump to have to get that project across the line because you've made those applications with the fees and plans and all that sort of carry on. Too often I've seen people make some really grandiose plans when it comes to projects like this. They get in and they do it all, and then they go, geez, if I had have foreseen this or that, well, we would have done that differently. And that's kind of a bit of a anxiety for me, is that when you're doing projects like this, if you do too much too soon and you don't really take something into account, well, it's permanent. But the thing I like with this sort of project is we can do it in stages and be able to say in a month's time, you know, it might be nice to do this, or we could build something there. And it's a nice way to go. It's relaxed and you can do it in a way that you feel like you're giving yourself enough time to make the best decisions. And that's probably the best you can hope for. But the other thing that we're decided to do was that we were thinking about building out this roof here, out this way. But this area in here, because it's down on the lower part of the section, it does attract quite a bit of moisture. And we thought by the time we engineer it all and make it such that we can park vehicles and everything, it just seemed to be a bit too much of a hassle. So we've decided to scale back a bit, and we're just going to bring this driveway in here and then just have a carport right here. So you'll just come straight in and you park your cars there and then you walk into the building. We might build some sort of overhang or something so that in the rainy season you're not getting wet when you park your cars. But that's kind of brought down the cost a little bit and just makes everything more simple, and we don't have to trouble with bringing that roof out. Rather than bringing it this way, we're taking it a bit further that way. So that's the plan. And just one other funny thing that happened, I'll show you the phone video. When we took down this structure here, you might have seen it in an earlier video, it was kind of a metal structure here. The guys cut into it and found a wasp nest. So that was a bit of a health and safety issue that cropped up early in the project. So thanks for tuning in and following our progress. We're pretty excited. We think it's cracking along, and I have no doubt that there's going to be a few surprises yet to be revealed, but it's all part of the fun of a project like this. But better or worse, you're going to see it as we see it, so stay tuned. Take care. Ciao.